Today is February 10, 2024. Our reflection is entitled Abundant Provision, Recognizing God's Generosity. First reading, 1 Kings chapter 12, verses 26 to 32, and chapter 13, verses 33 to 34. Jeroboam thought to himself, "The kingdom will return to David's house. If now this people go up to offer sacrifices in the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem, the hearts of this people will return to their master, Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they will kill me." After taking counsel, the king made 2 calves of gold and said to the people, "You have been going up to Jerusalem long enough. Here is your God, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." And he put one in Bethel, the other in Dan. This led to sin, because the people frequented those calves in Bethel and in Dan. He also built temples on the high places and made priests from among the people who were not Levites. Jeroboam established a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month to duplicate in Bethel the pilgrimage feast of Judah, with sacrifices to the calves he had made. And he stationed in Bethel priests of the high places he had built. Jeroboam did not give up his evil ways after this, but again made priests for the high places from among the common people. Whoever desired it was consecrated and became a priest of the high places. This was a sin on the part of the house of Jeroboam for which it was to be cut off and destroyed from the earth. Gospel. Mark chapter 8, verses 1 to 10. In those days when there again was a great crowd without anything to eat, Jesus summoned the disciples and said, "My heart is moved with pity for the crowd, because they have been with me now for 3 days and have nothing to eat. If I send them away hungry to their homes, they will collapse on the way, and some of them have come a great distance." His disciples answered him, "Where can anyone get enough bread to satisfy them here in this deserted place?" Still he asked them, "How many loaves do you have?" They replied, 7. He ordered the crowd to sit down on the ground. Then, taking the 7 loaves he gave thanks, broke them, and gave them to his disciples to distribute, and they distributed them to the crowd. They also had a few fish. He said the blessing over them and ordered them distributed also. They ate and were satisfied. They picked up the fragments left over, 7 baskets. There were about 4,000 people. He dismissed the crowd and got into the boat with his disciples and came to the region of Dalmanutha. In the first reading, we find the account of Jeroboam, the king of the newly divided Israel, instituting golden calves for worship in an attempt to consolidate power and prevent the people from going to Jerusalem. Despite warnings from a prophet, Jeroboam persists in his disobedience. This narrative illustrates the pitfalls of relying on human-made substitutes for God's true provision and guidance. Turning to the Gospel according to Mark, we encounter the miraculous feeding of the 4,000 by Jesus. In this extraordinary event, Jesus takes 7 loaves and a few fish, blesses them, and feeds a multitude. The abundance of leftovers further emphasizes God's lavish generosity. This miraculous provision serves as a powerful reminder that God's abundance surpasses human limitations, and His grace is more than sufficient for our needs. Both readings invite us to reflect on our trust in God's provision. Jeroboam's misguided attempt to secure control contrasts sharply with the abundant and miraculous provision Jesus offers. The narratives prompt us to examine our own hearts and discern whether we are relying on God's boundless generosity or placing our trust in inadequate substitutes. Today, I will evaluate the areas in my life where I may be relying on human solutions rather than trusting in God's provision. Inspired by the feeding of the 4,000, I will seek to embrace an attitude of gratitude and trust in God's abundant grace. In my actions and decisions, I will consciously choose to rely on His provision, recognizing that His generosity far surpasses any human-made substitutes. May this awareness deepen my faith and lead to a more profound dependence on God's boundless love and care. If you found this video meaningful, I invite you to show your support by hitting the like, subscribe and share button, as this will help us reach more people with these reflections. Together, we can create a community that seeks wisdom and spiritual growth.